What's up, folks? Sorry to keep you waiting. If you are here waiting, I have too many excuses, but none are good. So I won't bore you with the details. What is it that is in my corner right there? It's kind of bothersome. It's like a little, oh, you know what? It's so funny. It's black, but it looks white. Remember when Upchurch used to say that sometimes black looks white and white looks black when you're doing your thing? Upchurch. Oh, we got so much to talk about today. So hit that like button if you'd be so kind. We'll get right into it. Let me write some stuff down. Because, my brain stops working when I go too many days in a row without doing my videos. And it's been a few days. Like I said, I got too many stupid excuses, my braces being one of them. Yesterday was Monday. I could barely get through like the Thanksgiving weekend. So they adjusted my braces yesterday, and they are the best that they've been in a week or two. Anna Bees, look at you. How are you doing? I am doing well. How about yourself? Thank you kindly for saying hello and being here so you can hear me okay. Wow. So everything I say is simply my opinion for the sake of hoping to start a conversation, open up a discussion, learn something, be educational. All of my videos are made for YouTube, and it's an infotainment platform. Good, I did put earrings on. I feel naked if I don't have earrings on. And they were kind of dark, so I was like, oh no, did I forget? Because, a bunch of this, a bunch of that, a bunch of the other. Like, what is it over here in front of my little sign? See, this is white, but this is, all of this stuff is black, but some of it looks white. What is it that looks white? This? Yeah, that black thing, just because of the way the light refracts on it. Anyway, hit that subscribe button if you don't mind, because sometimes we get unsubscribed without realizing it. Share a video of mine with somebody that you think might like my channel. Turn on your notification bell to ring, and let's get rolling. Did I do my thing? Everything I say is simply my opinion for the sake of hoping to start a conversation, open up a discussion, learn something, be educational. All of my videos are made for the tube of you, and it's an infotainment platform. I don't know. I just felt weird all of a sudden. So, no, I'm not drunk. I can hear you just fine. I'm doing good too. I'm so glad to hear that, my dear, my darling dear. So I don't have wax in my mouth at the moment, and I pretty much have had wax in my mouth like 24/7 for the last 10 days. And it gets really annoying. So I'm going to try to do this without the wax. I think I have some handy if I need to put it in, because once you start talking, your lips really start rubbing. So some of the things I wanted to talk about today, Anna Bees, thank you so much for being here today. Thank you so much for being here always. You are my main man, but woman. Wasn't it you and another, like, dang it, Nancy, who had watched the Ryan Upchurch deposition, that 4.5 hour thing? I think you said it was like 10 hours. So I was actually expecting it to be 10 hours. And then I was like, oh, phew, it's only 4.5 hours. No big deal. I literally watched it all in one sitting. It was hilarious. The guy is freaking brilliant, for the love of Upchurch. That's going to become my new saying. So for those that don't know, Upchurch just released a couple days ago on his YouTube channel a deposition that he gave this past March concerning the Kylie Rodney case. And it was really good. I think it was Dang It Nancy that told us about it. And somebody else chimed in. It was probably Billy. Somebody else chimed in that they saw it too. So yeah, I think you're correct. But it wasn't you. Squirrel. Because I think we should talk about it for a minute if you want. I am going to see if I have my wax handy. I have like 50,000 containers of it, but some are better than others. So I've got like different qualities of wax now. I think this is one of the really good ones. Let's see. Yes. Okay. Good to go. Because oddly enough, when I'm talking, and I apologize in advance for being gross if this grosses anybody out, it's the ones in the front that hurt the most. Like usually it's the ones in the back that hurt the most. So excuse me while I be disgusting. So much better. My family does not love me playing with my braces and my wax all the time. So whenever they say anything to me about it, I'm like, so I'm disgusting. Get over it. I still feel very lucky to have them as much as they suck. Man, they're so expensive too. They're torture, they're barbaric, and they're expensive. But, you know, when you need them, you need them. Okay. Can you get a good view of me being disgusting? I went to his channel, but I didn't find it. Oh, I wonder if he took it down. I'll check it out. Yeah, so let me look real quick. Yes, you want to hear about it. Cool, because I want to talk about it. I also want to talk about the Trumpster fire falling asleep in his meeting today. The man looks like hell. I also want to talk about Lindsay Halligan and what a effing joke she is. And there's a whole bunch of other stuff I want to talk about. And I think I have about an hour. So we're going to try to pack it in. Action packed once I get rolling, hopefully. I am trying to look up Upchurch's channel. Upchurch official. Wait, is that something else? No, it's still there. So it's called Ryan Upchurch, and it says at Upchurch official. And it is the second to the last video that he posted. So it's posted 5 days ago. It's gotten 280,000 views, and it's 4 hours and 17 minutes. I'll put a link to it in the description, Annabees. So basically, I just, you know, I love the man. I do. I love Upchurch. Again, I used to have a huge crush on him. Can you tell I'm kind of a like boy crazy kind of person? Sorry, not sorry. But I don't love that he's all into the Confederate flag. Like that twists my brain and I just can't. But I do love his music. I love what he did for Kylie Rodney. And I love what he's doing for all of us on YouTube. So, you know, agree to disagree, right? It's okay. I really don't like to support anybody that's openly racist. And I didn't think he was racist, but I don't know, that whole Confederate flag thing, I can't wrap my mind around. Here, one sec. So yeah, now I've got like this softer wax, and then I've got a harder wax too. But I'm almost done. One more, I think. And I do apologize. I should have done this before I came on. I just thought I could get away without doing it. I was wrong. Live and learn. The good news is I haven't had the wax on in like, I don't know, 10 hours. And I was fine, but I wasn't talking either. I was just like organizing and doing housework and all kinds of fun stuff like that. Okay. Dusting, cleaning, rearranging, you know, pulling the house together for visitors for the holidays some more. And Okay, I lied. I said I was done, but I think I need a smidge more in the upper back, so it's going to be really gross. There, this is how it's done, people. It makes such a difference. One last one, hopefully. Yeah, the first couple of weeks that I had braces, I was like, I don't want to play with all the wax. I'm just not going to bother. And then I got over that. And yeah, I'm not real shy about playing with it now in front of people either, am I? Like I said, I'm just gross. Sorry, not sorry. And I do apologize though if it makes me talk funny, because that's why I didn't put it in, because I don't like to have like a lisp. I mean, not that there's anything wrong with having a lisp. It's just kind of hard to understand people sometimes. Okay, I went to his channel, but I didn't find it. I don't like his music or the Confederate flag, but I like him as a person, if that makes sense. Totally makes sense. Yeah, I'm not into country music, but his music is freaking amazing. You know, kind of like Johnny Cash. Like, you know, I wouldn't call Johnny Cash country, but I guess he is. But I love Johnny Cash, and I don't really like country. Anyway, so the thing with Upchurch, what he's done with his deposition, so it happened in March, so like 10 months ago, no, 8 months ago now, and he just posted it 5 days ago. And basically, he's just kind of being aloof, and it's great because I feel like he's being brilliant in protecting the tube of view and freedom of speech for people to say what they want to say on YouTube, because basically they're trying to extort money from him for saying that at one point he didn't believe Kylie Rodney was real. And, you know, it's like, even if you're wrong, if you have reason to believe what you're saying, that's not like libel or slander or whatever. You're allowed to be wrong. You're allowed to have an opinion that's incorrect and to vocalize it. So it would be pretty bad if he settles, I think. I think he should take it to trial. Okay. I think I'm done playing with my wax, playing with my teeth. I don't like country music either. Oh my God, girl, you and I are like twinsy Bobsy twins. Too funny. So basically they're just asking him to like go back and remember like what he was thinking when he posted this or posted that. And he's like, I don't remember anything. That was so long ago. And yeah, I mean, it was what, 3.5 years ago, but he's not really trying to remember either, in my opinion. Man, freaking sucks. It's like there's these little things called hooks, and they like to stick them out in case you ever need rubber bands, which, like, well, what if I don't ever need rubber bands, but you're torturing me with these damn hooks for 1.5 years? So I gotta like cover the hook. But because it sticks out, it quickly uncovers itself. Because with this more malleable wax, it moves around really easily, which isn't really good. You want it to stay put, which is why I should do what I keep saying I'm going to do: quit playing with my wax and drink some cold water, because that kind of makes it set. I think you should take it to trial too. Yeah, I mean, I think it's for freedom of speech, freedom of artistic expression, because having a YouTube channel is not just freedom of speech. It is artistic expression. It's like a creative process. So you can be sarcastic, you can be incorrect. I think you want to be thoughtful and intelligent. You don't want it to just be a shit show, and people, of course, will take it there, unfortunately. So Anyway, what else do I want to say about that before we talk about some of the other stuff? He did do so much for the Kylie Rodney case. And then when they filed the lawsuit against him, it was so sad to me. They made him take the red flag Ronnie videos down, or maybe that was just his lawyer's advice, because those red flag Ronnie videos were gold. I hope they come back sometime. They were just like some of the best comedy on earth. So what else? Annabees, it is December 2nd. It's 5:31. Today is Tuesday after Thanksgiving, and the Christmas holiday is gonna come roaring down on us in no time. So we're like 3 weeks of Christmas shopping. So only 3 Christmas shopping weekends. I'm just trying to go over it to organize my thoughts around it, and for anybody else that it's sneaking up on them, because our damn Thanksgiving was so late in November. And then we had a dump of snow last night, so today was like a snow day. Everything was shut down. They were great. Oh yeah, the red flag Ronnie, those were like brilliant masterpieces in my opinion. And they did a lot to further the case and further the cause, and he's just a really sharp individual. He's very smart, and I love how in his depositions he kind of like tried to act dumb, and some of it I'm sure is him being truthful. He's like, look, I'm just a simple man, I make my music, I have a little baby, I don't do a lot else, other than make music and hang out with my kid. But they just kept asking him, like, well, what were you thinking when you posted that? And did you really think she was not real? And what made you think she wasn't real? The whole, I really agree with him in that I think the whole thing was farcical. And just like everybody dressing as like teenage twins in their white t-shirts, there's not that many teenagers in Truckee or in the Tahoe area in the summertime. There's not that many people there in the summertime. So it was silly, I think, for them to be wearing the white t-shirts to try to say, oh, we're Team Kylie, because it's like, okay, if you're a teenager and you're hanging out in the search party area, you're probably Team Kylie. That whole thing with the white t-shirts was sus AF. Like, there's definitely a thing with the color white and the whole CULT rituals or celebrations, when they're moving up in the hierarchy, when they're sacrificing competition or such, they wear all white, like Scammy at the Celebration of Life in that white dress, or like all of them in their white t-shirts right after she went missing. And what else? You see a lot of all white with Erica Kirk. Man, is that woman crazy. So I watched a really interesting video last night that I wanted to mention and put a link to the description. It's that channel, Dee Got a Podcast. And I don't watch him a lot, and I had never heard of him before the Charlie Kirk, Erica Kirk case. But he has a video that he dropped last night, a live. It's about 45 minutes long, and it's a videotape of Erica Kirk, or someone who looks exactly like her, at Donnie Tudall's very first presidential campaign rally back in 2015. And it's crazy. I believe that it's her 100%, because not just does it look just like her, there's a woman next to her that looks just like her mom, but also her mannerisms, the way she moves her arms and her hands and kind of flips her hair. This is bothering me, the way it's like uneven. I like to be symmetrical. Damn it. There we go. Nope. And because the sides, like, you can't, it's opposite day in the screen. Okay, is that better? It's better for me, but probably doesn't bother you the way it bothers me. Okay, I need to stop. I'm being like OCD. And those who don't know the whole thing about how it's like the reverse image probably think I'm just nuts, but that's okay. You can think whatever you want. I'll admit it. I am a little nutty at times and a lot nutty at times. I kind of range, like little nutty, lot nutty, medium nutty. I don't know. Maybe sometimes I'm not nutty, but I don't mind being nutty. That's just life. What was I saying about Erica Kirk? Okay, so this image, this videotape of the Donnie $2 doing his very first campaign, she's kind of right behind him. And then there's a guy in front of her, two people in front of her, Tyler Bowen, who I'd never heard of, but I guess that's like the guy who started Turning Point with Charlie. And he just got a pardon earlier in November, I think November 9th. Donnie $2 did a whole second wave of prophylactic pardons, I believe, for people that were involved in the January 6th insurrection who didn't get prosecuted. So in case they ever do get prosecuted, he gave them a bunch of preemptive pardons. So this guy, Tyler Bowen, I think is his name, is one of them. He's two people in front of Erica. And then a woman that looks just like her mom. And let's just say it's a woman that looks just like Erica, because it is kind of far away. It's a tiny bit grainy, but I'll put the link in the description. She looks like she has a young child with her, maybe like 7 or 8-year-old girl, I think. It's hard to tell because she's shorter and behind people. And then on the other side of the little girl is a guy that is clearly with Erica and the girl, the way they're all interacting. And nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with these people being at the campaign event, the speech, but it is interesting. And it made me think, oh, so when he first went out on his campaign, his whole like speech rally thing, he just like called all of his friends and probably paid them to show up. I don't know. In my opinion, I'm allowed to have an opinion. But this was 2015, so 10 years ago. And I guess I talked about this a week or two ago, that maybe Erica was married prior to Charlie, but it was annulled and scrubbed off the internet. And it was a guy from Romania. And I put his name in a couple of videos, but it's in the Dee Got a Podcast video. I can't think of it off the top of my head, and I don't feel like going through my notes. I could Google it, right? Anyway, I don't know if this might be that guy. I don't know if it's her kid. I don't know if it's just a guy that she knows. I think she has one sibling. I think she has a sister, but you can't really find anything about her sister on the internet. Like maybe it's her brother-in-law and her niece or something. It's just very curious. It's very curious too, simply because of the secrecy around it. And maybe this guy, Tyler, is the one who introduced Charlie and Erica. Because I kind of wondered if it was Trump. I thought it was probably Trump that suggested that they interview for Erica to get a job at Turning Point, which wouldn't make any sense because she was like queen of the universe and running all these businesses and, you know, selling real estate and transporting needy Romanian children, you know, transporting. Like, where would she find time to work at Turning Point? But that's allegedly how they met, was a job interview, but they decided that we're just going to get married instead of work together or something ridiculous like that. It doesn't make a lot of sense. But what does make a lot of sense to me is that if Erica was involved in the transporting with the RA, with the Romanian angels, or the ritualistic abuse RA, if she was involved with that and with Einstein, or, Jeffrey, let's call him Jeffrey Einstein, if she was involved with that whole thing, it would make sense why they're trying to hide her past. And they're definitely trying to hide her past. She definitely competed for, and I believe won, the Miss Teen Arizona in 2007. I have now found that verifiable in like 4 different places, and I've posted some of them on my community tab if you're interested. So one of them is her high school yearbook, because obviously if she has it in her high school yearbook, she was in the Miss Arizona pageant before she graduated high school. Like, otherwise it couldn't really get in her high school yearbook. That whole time travel thing that they do with like the Einstein birthday book. It's so crazy to try to ungaslight yourself, is it not? Like, that's where we all met, trying to do the ungaslighting with the Kylie Rodney. And then the ungaslighting with our current government administration that is just, it's 100% gaslight as far as I'm concerned. It's all it is. It's all they do. And you're like a cat chasing your tail. You can't see the forest through the trees. You're just like, so today in a cabinet meeting that was live on TV, our president, or the guy who is in the position of the El Presidente of this country, was like literally falling asleep while he was, I don't know if he was leading the cabinet meeting. I mean, I guess so. He is the leader, right? Dear leader. And I guess he was up last night posting like 160 things. Like, he's worse than a teenager. And then I think he reposted another like 240 things. So altogether, he posted like 400 things overnight. You heard that, didn't you, Annabise? Oh, you had 4 inches of snow on Monday? See, we got it last night. We got your snow last night. I don't think we got quite 4 inches. Well, because everyone was lying. I haven't been listening to lives. I did watch What's the Obsession the other day, but you always get froze for a second or two. Why is Erica always dabbing her no tears with a Kleenex? Well, I believe she's dabbing her no tears with a Kleenex for a couple of reasons. I think that she's actually applying tears. I think that, because she does it like this now. Like, it used to be that she would dab just in the corners, but now she's like dabbing down here. I think she's applying the tears. That's just my opinion. But the other thing that I think is really funny is, like, she uses this overly large white square Kleenex or tissue that kind of resembles when Donnie Toodles had that big like maxi pad thing on his ear. And it's almost like she borrowed a maxi pad from Donnie Toodles. Like, she's using the same type of, I mean, it's just like obscenely big. It's like they want to make sure that people see it. And it's like very square or rectangular. It's just odd. I mean, but they match. They match. So, I'm always looking for things that match. Like, for instance, off the top of my head, the fact, Annabise, you're going to love this. The fact that the, what I consider the fake assassination attempt in, sometimes I forget the name of the town in Pennsylvania where that happened. I know it's near Pittsburgh. Anyway, the brain fart, 1 second. Butler. See, I don't even have to finish typing. Butler, Pennsylvania. Where the guy, Thomas Crook, was that his name? Where he was like up on the building and making his attempt was like the same distance as the guy in Utah with Charlie Kirk. So I first noticed this like a week ago, and I hadn't mentioned it yet on my channel. With Charlie Kirk's guy, they try to say like 150 yards away, somewhere around 150 yards away. They give a range like 150 to 200 or something like that. But then with Thomas Crooks, they say that he was like 450 feet away. And it's like, isn't that the same as like the 150 yards away? So they're the exact same distance away. And they both did it early on in the performance. I'll just call it a performance. I mean, with Charlie, it was a debate. With Donnie Toodles, it was his speech, right? His campaign speech. I think with Charlie Kirk, it was like 6 minutes in, if I'm remembering right off the top of my head. It was like really close to the beginning. And then with Trumpster Fire, Tenacious D, I want to say it was like 15 minutes in. So there were a lot of similarities that I was like, I never really thought about that. And these are the types of similarities that, I mean, I'm not like a psychological profiler, you know that, but those types of similarities are the things that, let's just go out on a limb here and say serial unalivers don't realize that they're leaving a signature when they do things consistent like that. You know, when they make attempts a few minutes into an event, when they are consistently 450 feet or 150 yards away from their target. So I just find it interesting. I just find it kind of ridiculous too, that rather than saying that Thomas Crooks was 150 yards away and Tyler Robinson was 150 yards away, that with Thomas Crooks, they put it in feet, and then with Tyler Robinson, they put it in yards. What? So people won't notice that it's the same distance? OMG. And then like with Thomas Crooks, it's like people noticed the guy up there on the roof before anything happened. Like, that's insane. You would think the second they notice somebody on a roof, something would be done about that. At least to check to see if it's like, you know, Secret Service or not, because that's not a good thing. And then in Charlie Kirk's situation, for there to be that easy roof access, it's like the guy didn't have to climb up on the roof, Tyler Robinson or whoever it was that was up on the roof in Charlie Kirk's shooting. There were stairs that literally went right to it. So if you have stairs that go to a place that's a roof that's looking right at where you're doing a debate event with somebody who's had his life threatened many, many, many times routinely, consistently, you would think that you would do a sweep for that you would have that, you would have a handle on that before you got started, right? You would think that they would have gone and checked. Yeah, totally. So let me set my phone down and pick up my notes. So in this thing that Donnie Toodles was doing today with his cabinet meeting that was being televised live, which, you know, the whole thing with this guy is that everything is a performance. It's all made for TV. It's all like the White House apprentice. And it's all for shock value, and it's all for distraction. He's trying to control the narrative, right? He's trying to drive the community's focus away from those pesky e-files, away from the Trumpstein files. So, you know, he calls the reporters that are allowed in the room, which is not a lot. It's only like the News Nation and Fox News and the sycophants, the Glenn Beck types that are allowed in the room. And he calls them very intelligent lunatics. He calls them you people, very intelligent lunatics. And he says, I'm here talking to you very intelligent lunatics, you people. I'm here every day solving your little problems. He couldn't be more condescending. It's just like, man, how do people support this man? I do not get it. I really don't. I used to say, okay, I understand the charisma or what have you. I understand people thinking he's funny or thinking he's like a grandpa or thinking like, oh, he's not a politician, but he is a politician. And he's not really funny, like not the right kind of funny. He's like the scary kind of funny, in my opinion. Oh, I wanted to follow up too that in my last video, which I'm sorry, it was so many days ago, and you know how I don't like going more than a couple of days tops. I like to do my videos every day. I should just start trying to do 2 a day so that I can at least get 1 a day, especially over the holidays as things do get more chaotic and busier with so much going on. But the Stark family, the family business down there in Boca Raton that I was trying to remember the name of, that I was like, oh, it's a real normal name. It's like really plain and vanilla. The name of their company is called US Com and Intel. But you know what? I didn't even write it down right. And now I'm like, is that what it's called? Because I did put it in. Let me look on my phone. I did put it into my description of my last video. It's right at the top of it, so it should be super easy to find. And this is what happens when I don't make my videos for a few days, is I just get really scatterbrained. So I apologize. Stark Family Legacy IT Company is called US Info-Com Incorporated. So it's just this really plain Jane name, US Info-Com Incorporated. So it seems like a really low-key company, and they try to act like it's no big deal. Like, oh, yeah, the granddad started this business 40 years ago. And, now him and his kid and granddaughter, they all passed away in this terrible plane crash right there in Boca Raton. Like, seriously, just a couple of miles away from Mar-a-Lago. Coincidence? Sure. But the company, very high end, very successful, doing contracts with satellites and cables and communication systems. And the granddad, who I think he was like 80 years old, was stepping down from being in the president seat or the CEO and passed that baton down to his son, who was in his 50s. And then the teenage daughter, I think, was 17. And I think they were flying. This was like this last March, I think. They were flying to Tallahassee, Florida, for her to go look at the university. I think it's funny how it's not called FU. It's not Florida University. It's called University of Florida. So it's UF, because they can't really call it the other way around, right? I mean, that'd be funny if they did. If they called it Florida University, FU, they should do that. Anyway, UF, did I say Tallahassee? I think that's where it is. And so they were flying there from Boca Raton, which, Florida's a long state. It's probably close to 8 hours to drive, like from Miami up to, say, Pensacola. And Tallahassee is pretty far north. And so it's probably like, I'm just going to guess, maybe around a 6-hour road trip. So they were flying there, but their plane crashed as soon as it took off. And those things happen. They do. But it seems to happen to people around Donnie Toodles a lot. Like his executives from the Trump Taj Mahal in 1990, the 3 executives that crashed in that helicopter that he said he was supposed to be on, which was a lie, but he just wants the attention on himself, nobody else's. Charlie's friend ran away from him slightly before he was struck by the cylinder thing, and he was on the phone and told the person he was talking to that CK was passed away when he had his back to CK. Now, when you say his friend, are you talking about that Phil Lyman guy? The guy who ran for governor, the one who had met with him that morning, the one who was talking to him right before he started his debates. And then that same day, he had 3 different stories about where he was when Charlie was hit by the cylinder thing. And he went back to the scene of the crime like before midnight that night. But he had to get up early to meet with Charlie in the morning, and then he was talking to Charlie right before it happened. And then he said that he was like walking up to where the person firing the weapon, he like walked up there, and he was standing right by where the guy was firing the weapon. Right as it started, he was getting further away. Is that the guy you're talking about, Phil Lyman? I think that's his name, if you want to double check. So yeah, that guy was weird AF, and he ran for governor of Utah. And then his aunt is the one whose Ring doorbell cam had the person that they said was Tyler Robinson walking down the street. I think when he had like the weapon down his pants leg. And not only did it just happen to be his aunt's doorbell camera, Phil Lyman's aunt's doorbell camera, but Phil Lyman just happened to be at her house while it was videotaping the person walking with the weapon in their pants leg. The gaslighting, you guys, is just off the chain. You couldn't possibly make this stuff up. And when you have so many coincidences, you know they're not coincidences. They just can't. Christina Talk says there's a new lawsuit against Little T and several others for Little E business things. It's in Palm Beach. Yeah, there's a lot going on there. There's a lot of good stuff going on there. I just can't even... I try to watch the videos. I try to take notes. I try to keep my thoughts together, but it's so much. I literally can't keep up. I know none of us can. And that's their goal. Their goal is to flood the zone. So I hate to give that to them. That's why I try. It kind of motivates me to try extra hard to stay extra focused. But then I want to talk about things like him posting 400 times in a night and falling asleep in a meeting. I mean, seriously, it reminded me of when I fell asleep once in high school. It was in driver's ed after school. And I literally had sunglasses on, my Ray-Bans, and I literally fell asleep sitting there, not the very front of the classroom, but close to the very front and kind of center. And I slept for like 20 minutes or half an hour, and I don't think anybody even knew it because of my sunglasses. I mean, I don't think I was drooling or falling over or anything like that, but I was a teenager, and it was after school, like as a teenager, how you're like exhausted after school, you're like starving and exhausted, and you need to run home and eat and kick your feet up. But instead I had to go to driver's ed. So I took a snooze. That's what our president reminded me of today in this meeting, that he could, he kept looking like he was going to fall asleep mid-word, but then he would get the words out, but the words, the sentences, the ideas weren't really strung together. Like even worse than me right now on this live. It's like funny, not funny. And then, you know, he's just talking about that whole thing with how freaking smart he is and how he's medically so sound and just all of his lies. It's just like, it's okay to have a medical situation. You're 79 years old. You're under a lot of stress. Of course you're going to have a medical situation. It's like he thinks he's made of steel or something, like Charlie Kirk, right? Remember how they were doing that whole thing? Like, oh, the bullet was stopped by his neck because his neck is made of steel. And all the Superman references in the Charlie Kirk case, right down to like the Superman poster behind the Tyler Robinson when he was at the Dairy Queen. It's like a freaking cartoon. That's what it's like. It really is a cartoon. Yes, that Phil Lyman. Yeah, I think it's Lyman for anybody who's interested and wants to look him up. So he ran in 2024 for governor of Utah, which is interesting because the governor of Utah had a lot to do with this whole thing. And then he's planning on running again in 2028. But he too was pardoned. Phil Lyman was pardoned by Trump back in something like 2014. There was an incident that he organized like an ATV protest to be riding these ATVs on this like federal property that you weren't allowed to ride ATVs on. And so he did like a ride-in protest that he spearheaded and organized, and he got prosecuted for it. It wasn't like a violent crime, and it wasn't like a huge sentence. Like I think the sentence was either just probation and a fine or something similar. It was really lightweight, but it was also on his record. So Donnie Two Dolls pardoned him. So it's interesting that not only is he hanging out with Charlie right up until the minute that Charlie is taken out, it's almost like it was his job to make sure that Charlie was in that right place. You know, like maybe how in Kylie Rodney's situation, it might have been Meg and Kate's job to make sure that Kylie was at that freaking Kylie party. And then, you know, you always want to get these people in the public where there's a lot of possibilities of who might have done what, right? It's not just like the one person, like the last person to see that victim alive is usually key in solving the mystery, and often is the one who done it. So there's a lot of wonky crap going on. A very bad cartoon. I know. And it reminds me of like the Roadrunner, because, you know, the Roadrunner was one of the stupidest cartoons, in my opinion, as a kid. It's like I liked it, but then it's like it's always the same. You know, it's always the big anvil that says Acme on it that is like tied to what the wolf's ankle when he like runs out of the cliff chasing the Roadrunner, and then he realizes that he's mid-air, and then the anvil like pulls him down to the ground. Oh, and then it lands on him, right? Like that's what this crap reminds me of. It's just like Acme. Everything is Acme. Everything is so predictable and just the same thing again and again. But we can't get rid of this guy. He's like a bad rash, or I don't know, a venereal disease. He's like a really bad yeast infection. That's what he is. I should give everybody the best advice you'll ever get in your life if you have to deal with yeast infections. I've never dispensed this on my channel because, you know, we don't want to talk about yeast infections, do we? Boric acid. So now I've known this for like 35 years. It was a homeopathic doctor. No, actually, it was a regular doctor. It was a regular doctor that told me about boric acid. Now they sell boric acid capsules at Kroger's, and they're like $25 for 12 of them. But you can get a jar of boric acid for like $5 that'll last you a lifetime, and then get the gel caps, put the boric acid in the gel cap. And sorry, trigger warning, but anyone who has a problem with yeast infections it's worth getting the information out there to traumatize you with the details. So you get the boric acid in the gel cap and you insert it like a tampon overnight, and you wear one of those like maxi pad things like Donnie Two Dolls wore on his ear, or like Erica dabs under her no tears to apply them. You wear a maxi pad overnight, and then voila, maybe 2 nights and you'll be healed. It's that easy. But they don't want you to know that because they want to make all this money off of you with all their stupid stuff that doesn't work. So, okay, again, sorry, not sorry. He's like herpes. Mm-hmm. Right. Or like a yeast infection before you know about the boric acid trick. So what is the boric acid trick with him to get rid of him? I think it's those Trumpstein files. I do think that the only way he got in that position either time was with Russia. And that whole hoax. Every time he says hoax, you know that he's lying. Now, today he was saying that the affordability thing is a hoax, and people not being able to afford their insurance is just a Democrat hoax. You know, you got the Epstein hoax. Why is he fixated on that word? Again, the gaslighting. Like, isn't hoax something like casting a spell? Isn't that like something like dark magic? Like, people don't use that word except him. It's just not a normal word to use, and he uses it like every freaking day. But I think there's a lot of dark magic. Okay, something I wasn't planning on talking about, but let me just go there. I saw Wicked for good over the weekend. And I haven't seen the first Wicked. Of course, I've seen Wizard of Oz a million times. Love it. And I saw Wicked for good, and the set was amazing. The anorexia, not amazing. And I thought I was just being judgmental about that, but that's what everybody's talking about, is like the promoting of the anorexia. But what nobody's talking about with this movie, Anna-Bees, and I'm just going to say it, and I don't care if I sound crazy, it's like they're skating, the whole movie is like they're skating on the surface of the RA. The whole movie, it's like they're skating on the surface of the types of things that the CULT does. The whole movie, everything about it, in my opinion, was just like super lightweight. Let's just skate on the surface of locking people in dungeons, keeping people as slaves, power and control. Kind of all of the stuff that the Trumpstein files is about. And they didn't like go into it. So, so I'm thinking, am I just thinking this because I'm looking at this stuff every day with my YouTube videos that I watch and that I record? Or is it just me? Or is that what it's about? Because I know we've all said it a bunch of times in Hollywood, they're always trying to like normalize that crap, like the Eyes Wide Shut kind of thing. So that's a movie I haven't seen. That's a movie that is going off the deep end, in my understanding, with all of this stuff that, in my opinion, Wicked is just like skating on the surface of. So if you haven't seen it yet, Anna-Bees or any other viewers, I would appreciate if you feel like giving me your feedback, or if you have seen it already, if you think that I'm in left field or you think that's a thing. I'd be very curious. So it's like trying to bring awareness to it. Oh, you just said it. Yeah, not trying to bring awareness to it, like trying to infiltrate it into normal life, like the opposite of trying to bring awareness to it, like trying to make it spread like herpes without anybody knowing it. Funny, not funny, right? Okay. So one of the things that I talked about in my last video was, and I didn't really explain it very well. So when I review my videos and I catch things like that, I like to try to go back and explain myself a little bit better. And the thing that I didn't really explain, I said that I was going to, which is why I don't like to say, well, I'll get back to that. It's because I'll forget to go back to it, is how when Big Balls was allegedly attacked in downtown DC, and the first thing that Tenacious D started to talk about is, well, let's lower the age of prosecuting violent crimes as adults to 15. And right away, I thought, he's just trying to call a 15-year-old an adult so that when he's busted for having relations with 15-year-olds, he can say, well, they're adults now. So what's the problem? In my opinion, that's why that move to try to bring down the age of the teenagers, when you can try teenagers as adults. It happens a lot with hideous violent crimes. I mean, sometimes even like younger kids that aren't teenagers get tried as adults if it seems like they're old enough to understand, they're old enough to know better, but they did horrible, horrible, unthinkable things. I can't really explain why I felt that way. I haven't seen it. I got a weird feeling about it and haven't wanted to watch it. Did you see the first one? Because I did not see the first one, but the whole thing, it kind of seemed like they were selling lesbianism too, just to be really blunt. I mean, nobody said it, but I'll say it. It seemed to me that rather than selling like the Cinderella story, living happily ever after, the princess and the prince, it was like the princesses hooked up and didn't need the prince. But yeah, something's really weird about the whole movie. I mean, they're all so damn skinny. They look like they're going to break in half. They're like twigs. And what's so hideous about filming a movie like that, that's so popular with the little kids, is they're like trying to promote that whole twiggy thing, that whole glamorization of anorexia. I mean, it's hideous, absolutely hideous. And Ariana Grande has always been a very tiny and slender person, but not only is she like bony AF, but they're like showing off every single bone in her chest. Like she literally, in my opinion, looks like she's starving to death and is going to die. It's twisted. So, I mean, you see that in the ads for it. Like they don't hide that at all. So maybe that's part of why you got the creeps from it. The sets are amazing. The sets are freaking amazing. Like I could watch it again just to admire the sets. But I don't know that I will. I probably will. When Megyn Kelly was talking about Little E's victims, she called them barely legal. No, Megan, they are not legal. Not at all. Oh, I know. She's such a sick, twisted individual. Yeah, absolutely not legal. And then the things that they did, the things that the Trumpstein besties did to their victims, even if they were over the age of 21, the things that they did were not legal. It's not legal to coerce someone into an act like that. It's not legal to assault somebody. Yes, I think it was the anorexia. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, to me, it seemed like she was trying to appease her master with all of that. Again, trying to lay the foundation so that when our Tenacious D is outed plain as day. I mean, personally, I think it's already plain as day, but, people are acting like it's not. When he's outed for the crimes that he's committed against these teenagers, she's helping lay the foundation to say, well, they weren't that young. They weren't that underage. They were just a little bit underage. But also, I've been noticing online that more people are reading Virginia Giuffre's book, Nobody's Girl, on their channels. And I'm really glad to see that. Which is why I read it to you guys, is because I feel like it's information that the entire country needs to be exposed to understand what it is that we're up against. So I feel like what it is that we're up against is this whole like Handmaid's Tale thing. And again, getting back to the Kylie Rodney case, there was a lot of Handmaid's Tale references in her disappearance from Jump. And then going back to our Tenacious D's first term, his Melania bot spy wife decorated the hallways of the East Wing with those hideous blood red Christmas trees that not only were the color of the red stuff, like a dark red, not just like a bright Christmas kind of red, but like a super dark blood red. But the shape of them too was very much like KKK kind of things. And I thought that was a dog whistle. I thought that decor was a dog whistle. Like that people in the know were like, yes, that's what we're promoting here. It's all this Titanic crap. Oh, I got a good one for you, Anna Bees. I heard a couple of days ago, Elon, the big E, saying how people don't really need to worry about money because, there's a lot of trouble right now with the affordability, the lack of affordability, and all the billionaires getting all the money and the rest of the people not having enough money just to meet their basic needs. And Elon's like, oh, forget about it. You don't even need to worry about money. Like in a few years, money's just going to be a thing of the past. We're all going to have everything we want at the push of a button. There's not even going to be a need for money. And it's not even like he was talking about cash money. It's like he was talking about electronic money too, like Bitcoin and crap like that. And it was just like, OMG. I wouldn't believe a thing he says. It's kind of like Tenacious D. It's like whatever he says, the opposite is true. Like Tenacious D, when asked about the MRI, and he's like, I don't know what part of my body it was for, but it certainly wasn't my brain. It's like, okay, well, it was obviously then for the brain, right? Because everything he says is a confession or a projection. But yeah, that like, forget about it. Don't worry about money because, money's going to be obsolete soon enough anyway. So yeah, give it all to me and just don't worry about it. What an effing freaking nut. What an effing nut. They rugged them and held them against their will. Thank you, Anna Bees. Yes, with the, especially with the Epstein Island. Let's just call it Trumpstein Island. Because Jizz would take their passports and not allow them access to their passports. So they really were stuck. And I've done research, and there's definitely tunnels around there. In fact, those islands, the way the islands are, the way they've evolved over the centuries is that they're on coral reefs, so that there's like a natural tunnel system, like sort of like where those kids in Thailand got stuck in that tunnel system, those that boys soccer team. So even without making tunnels, there's already tunnels. And yeah, I think that they did a lot of the trade. I think that these Trumpstein files are so much worse than the assaults that we have heard about. I think that it goes a lot deeper than anything Virginia Giuffre even mentions in her book. I think that it goes straight to the buying and selling of little people, like from Romania, that somebody like Erica Kirk could coerce. It's like the slave trade. And you get them out on the open water. You get them on these islands where it's like freaking pirates, nobody's jurisdiction. And I think the whole thing with the eating the long pig. I'm going to have to watch Wicked again because I think that they were alluding to that too. They're certainly alluding to it in Little E's birthday book. So yeah, I think that the Trumpstein files, the essay is just like skating on the surface of the RA. Hopefully you can follow what I'm saying with my initials. The SEX abuse is skating on the surface of the ritualistic abuse and the whole CULT activity. And then what more can we say? I think I'm going to have to wrap up before I in so deep I can't get out of my rabbit hole. I'm so glad you read it to us. I'm so glad I did too. And again, it's like I need to review things a second time to really absorb it, even when I'm paying attention. It's just too much information. It's always hard for me to take everything in. Thank you, my dear. I am following. Cool. Yeah, I'm just I'm saying the things you're not supposed to say, right? Oh, so when Donnie Toodles got so upset with the government officials who made that video about that, not only do you not need to follow illegal orders to the military, but that you are not allowed to follow illegal orders, that you must not follow illegal orders. The fact that El Presidente went nuts over that was frightening AF, because obviously he wants to give illegal orders. Like, he gave himself away by going nuts over that. Like, yeah, come on in. I need to wrap up.
Yeah, and I made crunch wraps.
Okay, thanks, hon. So yeah, let me wrap up here. I see Fred is here. Hello, my dear. I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to go. But I better get going already because it's getting close to 6:30, which was my cutoff time. Actually, 6:15 was my cutoff time. 6:30 was like too late. So it's 6:24 right now. I would love to stay on since Fred is here, but I do need to sign off, and hopefully mañana will be a good day to make a video. I think it will be earlier in the day, and be more organized in me thought process. All right, thanks for being here, you guys. Love to you. Have a great evening and drink your water.